Hello everyone, this video would be a little bit of a roundup, a shootout, a comparison of 2-inch CineWhoops that have been kind of released here over the last, I think the 8 months is the oldest one came out. And this will be kind of a free-flowing discussion. I originally started out this by taking some notes on paper, which I know is odd for an IT guy. I still write a lot of stuff down, but that kind of formed into a chart. Ooh, a fancy chart, which I'll share in the video description down below. It's just a Google spreadsheet where you can kind of see my thoughts in plain typed format. Also, the names on the columns for the quads, those are also links to the original review videos. So if you want to get the full detailed discussion, probably 20-minute long video, that would be the place to go, because I'm going to try to cover this kind of quickly. Also, in those review videos, if you want to go to the product pages to check the pricing that I'm also listing on the chart or the spreadsheet, that would probably be wise. So there'll be links to various resellers, whether they're affiliates or not. I just Google search for the particular product and pull in any sort of link I can find, whether it's a shop that I have an affiliate with or not. So choose your favorite shop, shop around, save yourself some money wherever you can. And if I've got coupon codes, they will be linked in the video description of the review videos. So just one link in this video. A couple of qualifiers. I think most people on this are going to be expecting DJI 03 cameras and VTXs on all of them. Unfortunately, while all of them have that as an option, I did not review that particular version in all cases. Most of them, but not in all cases. I'm thinking of 2 off the top of my head here. I think it's actually 3, so half. Oops. And you'll also find on the chart I've listed a 7th, which I haven't flown yet, so you'll find some typed emoticons in there as well. It's from Out of the RC. It's their 2-inch version. I expected to have it, and I was actually kind of waiting on this video in order to be able to review that first and then kind of include them all together. But I haven't heard from them in a while. I'm not certain what's going on, so I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. So not all of these will have the DJI 03, as I started to hint to, and I'll try to cover them relatively quickly and make this one of my shorter videos, kind of. So we better get started. So let's go around the horn before we get started. We've got the GEP-RC Dark Star right here. We've got the Beta FPV Pavo 20 right here. And over here is the FlyWoo FlyLens 85. Down here on the lower right is the GEP-RC SynLog 20. And then we have the Axis Flying SynOn C20. And then we have the Mobula 8. One of the things I would encourage you definitely to watch the full form review video is when it comes to the slow, stable footage. I don't necessarily trust my own rankings that you'll find in that chart, because I don't think I'm terrible sensitive to seeing those very minute micro vibrations that other people can see. So that's one area where I put a ranking, but I don't really trust it, and I don't expect you to trust it either. So I would encourage you to click the name of the particular quad that you're most interested in, or maybe if there's more than one, and watch the section of that review video that has the slow, smooth flying, if that's what is your primary driver for looking at these. Otherwise, you'll just kind of want to watch the whole review video once you kind of separate out what you want. So flight time, as we look, and I'm going to flash back and forth with the chart. As we look at the chart, we can see that the flight time is listed across the board. Now, of course, not all these use 2S batteries. Some of these are using 3S batteries and even 4S batteries, and flight time is going to be all over the board. So if you have 2S batteries and you don't want to invest in 3S or 4S batteries, that's going to change which quad you're looking at. Also, the limitation on some of these, like the Mobula 8, you can't use big 2S batteries because, well, you can, but you would have to lop off the battery tray and then loop something through there like a strap in order to be able to use a different sort of battery, which you can do, but I'm going by its stock formation rather than DIYing stuff up. So that is another limiting factor when they have these battery trays, like a few of these do, whereas these have straps and you can use various sizes of batteries. And in those cases, I was using the batteries that I found that I could get the best flight time. So you can see the flight time on all of those. I didn't notate the battery, but of course, this is based upon my review video. So if you want to look at those details again, just click the name of the quad and it'll take you to the review video. Working our way from left to right, the fast flight time, which is my preferred flight style. While I do enjoy doing some cruising and fussing with squirrels and maybe some tree surfing, doing more aggressive sort of stuff is kind of my flavor, but you can see the different flight times with the Geparcy Dark Star and the Axis Flying Sin-On coming in at the lowest amount. You also see the iFlight Defender. I should have highlighted this previously. I did fly the Defender 16 and the Defender 25. I still have the Defender 25, and I based a few of those rankings on that particular quad for the durability and repairability based upon the quads I did have, but I don't have the Defender 20 to do a direct comparison of, but I did think it was worth including in the chart at least a little bit. And it's pretty interesting there that the Pavo 20 in the faster flight on a 3S battery and the FlyLens 85 got the flight times over 3 minutes, which over 3 minutes for me is more of a magical spot. I'm sure some people are just looking for the most possible flight time altogether. For me, I'm looking for just over 3 minutes because oftentimes I need like a concentration break or just a breath to relax a bit before I go for my next flight. So that's something, again, you can value different things and you could see these rankings in your own way, and we can still be friends. We could always disagree. That's the great thing about this stuff. We can have a discussion, we can disagree, and we all have different desires on what we want out of our quads, and that's perfectly fine. This is just my very opinionated, very biased, very much my own sort of thoughts on this particular category. I did list the dry weight on all these quads that I have, at least, and you can look at those and you'll see that the FlyWoo FlyLens was one that came in pretty light. Again, this one has where'd it go? It's over here. This one came in with the naked 03 or the light 03 where it's been decased. You can get this one with a standard 03 with all of its metal and encasement and everything over the camera. So that's, I'm comparing them how I flew them, and what the different options are available. So again, that's something that you might want to consider. You might not be comfortable with going with naked 03. You might be worried that, taking a hit or a rock getting up in there or something like that could cause a problem. It might not. I really can't say because mine's still working perfectly. And then the Dark Star also came in pretty light, but the Dark Star, one of the differentiating factors about a few of these is the Dark Star the Dark Star and the Mobula 8 are the two that don't have any carbon fiber. So that's going to weigh in when it comes to our repairability and durability. Something to consider there, where all of these others have carbon fiber in some part. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can fly these without the prop protection. Some of them you can, some of them you can't. Some of them you can snip the prop protection off, but you're going to need the center part of the flight protection, to mount over your flight controller so that you have something for your battery to secure to. Because if you just take the whole prop protection off, where's your strap going to go? So you'd kind of have to clip around here in order to be able to use that. And I think Oscar Liang posted a video with his Pavo 20, and I believe he got a print that he mounted here to be able to put his battery strap to, or he clipped it off. I'm not certain which. I didn't go deep into that. And with the durability and repairability, they're all fairly close in scores. Now, the iFlight Defender, I gave it a 5.5, and that's the 20. Again, I didn't have the 20. I had the 16 and the 25. My main concern with that one is it's all plastic design. It's fairly weighty, or at least for the 1.6 inch prop version and the 2.5 inch version, it was fairly weighty. It has a battery that's encased, so it has some extra weight there. So I had some concerns about the durability. I crashed my Defender 16 full throttle into the eave going up to do a punch out over the chimney and just didn't clear it. I did have some breakage, but it wasn't a terrible breakage. It was a breakage that I was able to just repair with some glue, and it was very much flyable again after that. So, as though I rate it fairly low, it actually surprised me when it took that hit and wasn't just completely destroyed. I did also break a Mobula 8 frame, but I can't remember if it was on the 03 version or if it was, because they had the 03 version, the Walk-Snail version, the HD0 version, and the analog version. But I do recall that I bonked into one of the uprights for the pergola out back, and that cracked the frame up front here on one of the prop protections. So again, durability, if you're doing that aggressive sort of flight, the prop protection, you may end up having to use something like welder adhesive or E6000 in order to fix the plastics if it can be fixed, and hopefully it doesn't impact your flight footage and its stability or smooth flying ability of the flight footage. There's really only two here that I would consider for putting an external HD camera on, and at most I would say that would be a naked GoPro, so it's been decased and the battery separated and all that. it would be these two. Obviously, they come with mounts for that sort of thing. You could go with a Caddx Peanut, which is also a very lightweight camera. I don't know if that camera is even as good as the 03. That's very subjective, I guess. So that's something that if you're wanting to do one of those cameras, a super light like a Caddx Peanut, you could do on any of these. But if you're wanting to fly something a touch heavier and you're wanting to get something GoPro or GoPro exact footage, these would be the two that you're kind of looking at. So that helps you if you're in a category of I want GoPro flight footage, then you're looking at these two if you're looking at the 2-inch form factor. Of course, when you get over 2 inches, like to 2.5 inches or even 3 inches, then you have so much more thrust that you could probably run a full-sized GoPro on top. I think, was there a new GoPro was released that was terrible heavy? So I shouldn't say any GoPro. You want to be reasonable when it comes to micros, but at least the full GoPro, like what was it, my Hero 9, with a battery in the case, everything attached, these would fly it. You wouldn't want to fly it aggressively with that, but for getting your footage, these two would do the job for you. Whereas the rest of these would be, you know, if you got a 3D print or you drew something up in Tinkercad in order to be able to attach an external HD camera, Caddx Peanut, the Insta360 Go cameras, they're going to be okay, but I certainly wouldn't put a GoPro or a naked GoPro on any of these in the back row and the Mobula 8. So as far as durability goes, I've ranked, where is it at? These two right here in the center, I put at 7s, just because I think, well, two things, kind of the repairability as well. So Beta FPV went through a few different iterations as far as this mount goes to make sure it's vibration dampened and you can get some nice footage, but they also added a little bit of extra length out here. And this prop protection is much more hardy than I expected, quite honestly. It doesn't feel heavy or super stiff, but I had a number of crashes with this one. They were mainly not violent crashes running into, you know, a tree or an upright pillar or pergola or something like that. But I was hitting the deck a lot because I was having some troubles getting my throttle management adjusted to where I wouldn't bottom out all the time. But it held together fine. It's still flying fine, and it's got carbon fiber. So I think this one would be fairly durable. And the only thing that, as far as durability goes, that's really hard to, it's hard for, I think, many people to get over, including myself, is that when it comes to having the 03, which let's envision this has an 03, regardless, your video system on these are going to be up top and proud. So if you crash, they're going to be hit in some capacity. And in all of these cases, the cameras are very exposed. So I kind of didn't take in consideration the camera being exposed in my durability sort of process because they're all exposed. You might look at one and say, oh, that one's even more exposed than that one or this one. You know, so I just took that out of my particular equation. And with the fly lens, you might not like that it's down low, so it's exposed down low. So if you're flying along or having a crash and something, a pole or a shed, you hit right here, is this plastic going to hold up? It feels rigid. I haven't had any problems with it, but is that going to tear off by chance? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how violent the crash is. We really can't tell at this time. So as we look at the durability, again, I put the Pavo 20 as well as the CineOn 20 as two of the more durable, and then we have the CineWhoop Fly Lens and the Mobula 8 as 6s, and then we drop down, well, I guess I forgot the CineLog 20 as a 6.5. The one thing about the CineLog 20 that made me want to kind of drop it down a bit is the independent prop protection. So in my experience, as we've kind of evolved with this, having a single piece for the prop protection, I think, is probably going to be long-term or durable. When we're looking at the same sort of materials and the same weights and stuff like that, that, you know, when you hit over here, if it's all one piece, the prop protection would absorb some of the force of the impact somewhere else. Whereas here, it's just on this particular round aspect. It's all this is going to absorb the impact. And I just think that this is a better way of going about it. Now, the downside is, if you break this and you can't repair it, now you've got some disassembly to do. So that's part of the repairability aspect. You know, if you break your prop protection and it can't be fixed with E6000 or welder, now you got to replace it. How many screws do you have to take apart? How fussy is it going to be to get it all back together once you get a new prop guard. And in the case of the FlyWoo fly lens, it's pretty fussy. And that's why the FlyWoo, geez, I can't hardly say it, FlyWoo Fly Lens 85, as far as repairability, got the lowest score at 4.5. And these are going to get higher scores because you have direct access to your VTX. Your flight stack is right underneath that as well, but in the case of like the Pavo 20, you just remove this and then you have access to the flight stack. In the Mobula 8, you remove the whole top assembly up here with the screws that are underneath here. You have to take your camera out to get to the screw up front, but then you have access to the flight controller there. And here you nearly have the access to the flight controller, but you know, you couldn't do any soldering there, so you're going to need to take the prop protection off, whereas this is really buried, and I remember fussing with this quite a bit to try to get these wires all tucked away. You know, like I said, you can buy all of these, I believe, with the DJI 03 Walk Snail HD0, and the DJI 03 you get could be the full-sized air unit, but that would possibly change some of the flight characteristics of these when you have the full weight of the 03. And I added loudness, or as I put on the chart, just loud in the categories because I have a hard time judging that. I get this question all the time. I've tried to cover it a few times. It's why I include flight audio in all of my videos so that you can just listen and kind of make a judgment for your own. But the GepRC Darkstar 20 as well as the Axis Flying CineOn C20, those were two that I thought were substantially less noisy than the others. And it's probably because of the props that they're running. Darkstar has a 4-bladed prop. And I know some people have tried 5-bladed props on some quads like this in order to make them even quieter. But once you get above 4-bladed props, there becomes a performance issue or an efficiency issue that you have to overcome. Oddly enough, you know, the CineOn C20 is using the standard GemFan 2023 props. So in that case where it's less noisy and is running 4S, it's got to be about the prop protection design that causes that noise level to come down a little bit. You might be looking at the GepRC Cine 20 and thinking, well, it's running 4-bladed props. These Avions from Emax, while good props, they just, even with quad-bladed, it doesn't take the noise down that much, in my opinion. And so that's why I didn't rate this one any better than I did any of the others. But again, according to the chart and what I wrote down, as far as how loud they are, if you want something that's quiet, the Darkstar 20 and the CineOn C20 running 4S, they're quieter than the others here on the table. Of course, price is a big factor. Don't get super confused by that Beta FPV Pavo 20 price. That is without an 03. Again, go to the review videos and check out the video descriptions of what you are looking at the most, and I'll have a list of resellers and FPV shops and all that stuff that you can check out pricing, or you can just use your Google Foo and just Google the manufacturer name, in this case, an example, Beta FPV Pavo 20. Google Foo that, hit the shopping tab on your webpage and see what turns up for you. Maybe you got a shop locally that you can buy from too. But price is a big deal, and all the prices that I listed here are for the DJI 03. So if you're looking at one of the other HD video systems, or you're looking at analog for any of these, the price is going to be quite a bit different. These are all DJI 03 based prices. But obviously the Pavo 20, when you buy it from Beta FPV, they do not include the 03, at least at the time that I started working on this chart, which was a few weeks ago now. And of course, the CineLog 20, it wins the award for the most expensive of the group. I don't know if that's an award you want. And then in the far right-hand column, those were just some notes that I had written down that I thought were important for me to remember. I left them on the chart because, well, it's there. I am disappointed in this roundup that I don't have the Oddity RC XI20 to include. I really wanted to fly that one. I was so impressed with the 3.5-inch version that I flew from Oddity RC. I've had some email exchanges. I thought they were sending one. I don't know what happened. It's been a few weeks. Haven't heard anything from them. We'll have to wait and see. You know, I don't like to go asking and saying, hey, I want to really run I need some content. I want to review this. I don't like doing that stuff. So I wanted to include it here because I was very impressed with the original, and I was excited to be able to fly the 2-inch version, and I wanted to see what their offering was. And of course, you can see their price, if accurate, comes in at less than almost all the others except for the Dark Star. So that's pretty impressive. And you've made it all the way to the end of the video and you want to know, what should you buy? As much as I don't like telling anybody what to buy, if you're asking me and you waited all this time to hear it and I buried it at the end of the video, I really like the FlyWhoop Flylens 85. I've said it a few times. I've said it a bunch of times in messages. I think it gets very good stable footage. Again, not a good judge, but to my eye, I thought it was at least on par with all of these others. And it just flies so nice in my preferred style, whether it's, you know, low and fast and around trees and stuff, or swooping over and doing some mild aerobatics. I just really liked how this fly, how it felt. But it is running the bi-bladed props, so it's probably going to be a touch noisier than at least a few of these others. But this one, I really like this one, and this one you won't find in a giveaway. Of course, this one has the advantage of having that DJI 03 that has been decased and made as light as possible, so that could change things. If I had a Mobula 8 that was running a light, I might prefer that. I just think, when I'm comparing everything that I've got as I've got it, this is the one I would buy every day of the week and twice on Sunday, as they say. Or as I just said. But that isn't all the considerations. You might have other considerations you're looking at. Again, I'll have that chart that we looked at in the video linked down in the video description. Chart, spreadsheet, what have you. If you're interested in seeing the full drawn out details, the full reviews, those will be linked in the name of the chart or the spreadsheet. And then on those videos, you can find places that you can check the pricing. Again, my pricing was what I started out with when I was doing hand notes here at the side of my desk. If you do have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the comments section below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.